This information is purely for education so that you can have and we can all have an idea of what happened in the past and how we can understand that knowing the past and learning the true history of our past can create a better future. You can't create a better future without knowing the true history, the true past, the way it happened, or getting as close to the truth as possible. Because if you don't understand the past, we are doomed to repeat mistakes that we didn't even know we made. There's a saying that goes, the past is prologue. And that is so, so true.
Well, in my opinion, Jesus, which is his real name is Yeshua, is actually either Thoth himself that found a way to come back through a womb, because this guy does some really experimental stuff with transferring his mind into other bodies, or Jesus, Yeshua, was an actual adept initiate of the ancient Egyptian mystery schools, which if you read a little known gospel called the Gospel of the Holy 12, which was kept out of the canonized Bible, it talks about where Yeshua disappeared to at the age of 12. He actually went to Egypt to study the Egyptian mysteries. Then he went to Tibet to learn Qigong and Reiki. And then he went to India to learn the mystic arts, and he taught reincarnation all the way back down into Egypt. And then the Bible picks up where it says, I called my son out of Egypt. And now he shows up riding on the back of a donkey.
Do you understand what Christ is? Christ is you. We're all Christ. And until you understand that, you're going nowhere. We are all the Christ. Jesus never said he was coming back. He said the Christ would return. And by that, he meant the consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the understanding of wisdom and ascension knowledge, who comes back and returns in every single person's mind. And by that method, the return is us. We are the second coming. Until you understand that, you're going nowhere.
You are the savior you've been looking for. All of us were sent here to save ourselves and save others. We are the saviors, every single one of us. We're supposed to create heaven on earth. That's the big mystery of the whole thing. We're not supposed to wait until we die so that we can live. You're supposed to live now, okay? And that's why the earth is the way it is and why people are the way they are and why there's turmoil everywhere, because people have been disconnected from understanding their true spiritual nature and the fact that we have the capability of turning any place into a heaven, because there's no amount of darkness that can make light flee. But the smallest pinprick of light will make darkness flee, okay? The divine energy, the spark that creates everything in this entire universe is inside of your body, as above, so below. And because the divine energy that's flowing through everything and all living things is inside of you, you have the power of commandment, you have the power of creation, you have the power of healing. All that power exists in your body. This is what the ancients were trying to teach us from tens of thousands of years ago. We manifest this entire planet. This entire reality on this planet has been manifested by individuals like me and you, and we take it for granted because we don't realize what we're doing. We're creating. Human beings are creators. Why? As above, so below. We are a divine spark, just a branch of the oneness, the universal all, the one consciousness that truly does exist. We're just a branch of it.
God is actually a frequency that you tune into. It's not a him or a he that everybody keep running around with. Right away, you're indoctrinated into still calling on God as a man, knowing that all life comes from a womb. You know that all life comes from a womb, right? But you're still calling this God a man. The creator of a universe is not going to come down from outside of the actual universe, because whoever created this universe lives on the outside of it, not inside of it. The divine energy and the frequency is here, but the creator itself is not in here, or creators, potentially, whoever programmed this code. Inside of here, we are in here. We're fully immersed in it. We have the spark inside of us. We have a choice every single day to do good or do evil. What can you take from this? What can you glean from this? They walked in their own true power. They understood the power that was inside of them. It doesn't make them right with what they did on this planet, but what it does do, it can teach us a lesson on how to create our own reality, how to walk in our power. Because according to another tablet called the Myth of Adapa, human beings, according to them, according to these sky gods, were created even more intelligent and higher than them. We had just not tapped into it yet. At a time in the future we would realize our true power. That time is right now. To walk in your true power as who you really and truly are. That part made it into the Bible as the angels were jealous of the humans because the humans were created higher than them. That's where it came from, the myth of Adapa. Read that ancient tablet. Almost word for word, they copied it right into the biblical text. You've heard me say this before. They copied the majority of that stuff from the Enuma Elish, the Atrahasis, the Mahabharata. You have some of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, right? You have in there, you have, like, for example, the 42 Laws of Mayat. You know, that's where you get the 10 Commandments that were extracted from that information. You have the Bhagavad Gita, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. You have the Sumerian tablets that are outside of the Enuma Elish. There's many tablets that exist. The Code of Hammurabi, the Epic of Gilgamesh. I mean, that can just keep going and going and going. And I said, then you have the Emerald Tablets, where Jesus's teachings are identical copies of Thoth's teachings from the ancient Kemetic mystery schools taught 50,000 years ago.
The Anunnaki. That's the name of the beings that, according to the ancient texts, came from heaven to earth. In the Egyptian culture, they call them the Natiru. And they said they came to earth and turned mud into a kingdom. In the Bible, they call them the Anunnaki. They have these names in all different cultures. They all show up around the same time in every culture. And I started finding more instances of them in every culture I looked into around the same time period. And I go, these people really came here at some point in the distant past. It seems to be now around 450,000 years ago they arrived. And about 200,000 years ago, according to the text, not me, they started genetically tinkering with human beings, saying they were adding their essence to them to get us to do the labor for them. So around 200,000 years ago, they started tinkering with us. And there's a famous cylinder scroll and with some text at the British Museum with Isis, the goddess Isis, who was one of the original Sumerian pantheon, not Egyptian, Sumerian.
These beings were mating. They had creating this mating farm, this mating laboratory called Eden. And Enlil was known as the Lord. He was known as Satan, the Lord of Eden. Satan, the Lord of Eden. Satan. You wonder where that came from? Yeah, he's Satan. The snake that was in the garden was his brother, Enki. Enki came with the knowledge to Adam and Eve and told them that they were stronger and bigger and brighter, and that when he did the genetic tinkering, that he put a little extra in them, that one day in the future they would be able to tap back into it, and they themselves could rise higher than the Anunnaki. And his brother found out about this and started calling him the devil. And that information is in the myth of Adapa, which is another incredible ancient text.